this is Coastal Ridge Reserve. Okay. So we all know it's 8.5 acres. We purchased it back in 2020. 8.5 acres. The address, $8.5 million, $1 million per acre from that we did that. And also that one was also below appraisal. We also completed phase 1 and phase 2. Council named it Coastal Ridge Preserve in September 24. At the same time we did Veterans Park. It was 2-for-1 resolution. So town environmental consultant on this project was Peer. It performed the soil management plan, developed the soil management plan, but Miami-Dade County required additional sampling points. So at that point, we stopped it until we cleared everything up. Because just to get to that spot that Peer Inc. Did the samples, it cost them nearly $10,000 when it was a heavy brush and woods there. So we said, you know what? We work closely with Miami-Dade County Durham. They allowed us to take a pause until all the debris has been cleaned up. And now we're going to start going in there and putting in more sampling points there. The town consultant will perform now that the property's been done. And you'll see these are little quick pics here that we're going to discuss shortly here with in the video. Another one, grants awarded. We were awarded a second Florida's Communities Trust for $856,000. That was the award. If you recall, in my previous presentation, we were awarded up to 1.1, but we fell below the line where they cut off up to 20 million. So it was one of those that I remember it was, it was a great email that we received from Florida's Community Trust. Hey, sorry we can't give you the 1.1, but would you take 856? I'm like, yes. Yes, where do we sign? So that we signed all the agreements. That it should be deposited a lot sooner than Veterans Park. So that one I could say the check's in the mail, or I guess electronically. We also received $250,000 grant, and we matched $250,000 for a total of $500,000 for development of the master plan, permitting, and the removal of the invasives. And then just recently in January, we received a third grant now for up to $30,000 with a match of $30,000 for the hardwood hammock. But wait, it gets a little bit better too. Just a couple hours ago, the Board of County Commissioners approved $250,000 appropriation with no town match. And thank you, publicly thank Councilman Commissioner Danielle Cohen-Higgins, that this is one that I know the mayor and I have been working with her for, I want to say, what, maybe 3 years, at least 3 to 4 years. So I know that she was very, very happy to have that, and we want to thank the Board of County Commissioners. That requires no match. So if you do the quick math there, we have $60,000, combined for the Department of Agriculture, and another $250,000. So they're looking at almost $310,000 instantly just to start doing the planting. Soil remediation, same as the other property. We're going to pursue the grant from FDP since this is a non-brownfield designated site. And we have the grant funding, the potential grant funding up to $150,000, and it's per site. So we're going to pursue the same process that we did with Veterans Park. This journey, I know the council has seen this before. We in February we approved Stantec to develop the master plan, and they became very familiar with the community here. A lot of familiar faces here. We had, we met with the Parks and Rights Commission. We had the visioning session at the site, cleanup site there. I know that both Councilmember Lord and Ramirez were there on site as well. And then we also had the visioning session over Wings by the Bay there, and you can see our Congressman Salazar there with the mayor actually receiving feedback and comments from residents there. So we actually went to a lot of our different events. Then also part of our process that we want to make sure that this property was originally on what's called the Environment Endangered Land B list, and we want to move it to the A list. So on September 2025, we myself and the mayor presented before the last committee there at their board meeting. We provided them all the information, reason why this property, although it was farmed in the past, but we feel that it has a lot of great benefit, particularly to the 124 acres on the side there and the plants the county wants. And the last committee board approved it unanimously. Now that recommendation then goes to the Board of County Commissioners. We're hoping that sometime either in March or April, the county commissioners then ratifies their decision. And what that means for us is that we then will finalize our negotiations with Miami-Dade County EEL. Instead of getting 50%, since we're currently on the B list of appraised value on the potential 2-acre site, we will then now, if we're on the A list, we get 100%. of it. So that's almost a swing of almost $1 million. We paid $1 million per acre. We're going back and forth and negotiating with Miami-Dade County EEL. And hopefully once we get that A list, then we can finalize the negotiation and we'll come back to the council. As you recall, we approved the master plan based on the 8 acres. Now that we know that as the negotiations finalized with Miami-Dade County to purchase the 2 acres, we will come back to the council and revisit the master plan. Part of the discussion we had with Miami-Dade County is their concept as part of to put in the North Cutler Bay Wetlands Flowway going up from the Bill Sadowski Park located in Palmetto Bay, coming straight down, and you can see where it depicts there. And here's a closer view of the 2 acre potential purchase for them to county to create their flowway. Why? Because that is buffer land. If they put it anywhere closer to the east, then they'll start going into jurisdictional wetlands there. So that's the reason why this property, in our opinion, has a lot more value than just a regular buffer land. That's why this has been our point when we presented to the last committee of why this property, yes, considered buffer land, but it has value to the overall project of the wetland project. And this is just a sneak peek. Again, something that if the EEL property negotiations go through, we'll bring back to the council what the property would look like. The master plan will have to be revised. Obviously, it'll be discussed at the council meeting. And at this point, I'd just like to show a little quick video. And I think there we go. Again, I'd like to thank Rob Gibson, our communication manager. So what you see here is the area that has already been cleared. These piles we're going to talk about in a little bit, but to see those trees on the left-hand side, that's going to be the theoretical 2 acres that we'll be potentially selling to Miami-Dade County EEL. Those trees were left there intentionally, working with Miami-Dade County Derm. We wanted to make sure that there's a lot of a perching area there for a lot of hawks that you have there and all the other bats, believe it or not. So those trees were left there on purpose in coordination with Miami-Dade County Derm. And then the southern portion here, right by the lake, that is where we have, I call it the little arsenic hotspot there. That's where back in the 30s, early 30s, there was a farmhouse there with a lot of chemicals there. So that's why now we could expand the testing sites there. And then that goes into Cutler Bay there. So if I could just go back to the video real quick. There's a way to pause it, Mauricio, if we could just go back to the beginning and pause we have the 2 piles. I want to talk a little discussion about the 2 piles there. Okay, so yeah, we just get a little bit closer there. It's like a virtual tour here. Okay, you can see the pause there. So, Mayor, members of council, what you see here is those 2 remaining piles are the reason why they're still remaining because we have already reached our max with the county contract. With the contract that we piggyback from the county. It was EQI. We have reached their max. When the EQI folks originally they estimated about 5,500 cubic yards. Again, it's what I tell people, it's not a science. You got to look at a forest and how many cubic yards. We maximized all the purchasing authorization that I had up to $371,000. We then went back to the vendor, and if we even expanded the cost to remove this, believe it or not, there's almost like 88,000 cubic yards of debris there. I mean, you can see from air, but when you walk it, you're like, yeah, it's like 6 feet tall or so. We've had our consultants go out there and look at it. The current contractor that we have has completed their task. We then requested at this point to see if we could get a quote to come in with the big mulching machine, chip it, and then haul it away. It's a volume game, right? So obviously the chipping is going to take less volume in a 120 cubic yard semi that you have there. Unfortunately, that task is not in a county contract. So at that point, I said, well, give me the worst case. Worst case, if the contractor extended the existing county's pricing for hauling it away the way it is, I know everybody's sitting down, it would be $275,000. Yeah, that's what I said. Well, I said other words, but so $275,000. So the second part, we said, you know what? Then let's go back. Contractor, you there? You did great work. They just underestimated. Give me a cost to mulch in place and haul it. Okay, $137,000. Okay, well, still have that heartburn. So then I said, you know what? Hey, let's get our own contractors to give us some pricing, right? Of mulching it in place and then hauling it away. Mayor and members of council, we received at least two written proposals of 44 and 48 at that point. So what I like to recommend at this point, and normally don't, but I want to expedite the removal of this because remember, we still got to do some sampling there. And I don't want to still have that debris there and maybe attract more, say, illegal dumping there, even though there's a fenced property there. What I would recommend if the town council would recommend a motion for authorizing the town manager to expend funds to remove the debris at Coastal Ridge Reserve in an amount not to exceed, I'm putting there $60,000 after obtaining three written proposals, which purchase shall be brought back to the town council for ratification at the next regularly scheduled council meeting. I didn't want to wait to get written proposals because I mean we have like two already, and these are from our current vendors. I wanted to try to get at least a couple more, but I didn't have enough time before this council meeting here. So if the council would authorize me with that motion, then I'll work closely with the town attorney's office. We'll bring something back, and we'll have at least 3 to 4 written proposals.
To expedite it more, what if we just gave you a dollar limit, you had, without bringing those back to us? Would that be something that would work as well?
That's permissible.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, to make a motion to approve, what did you say? You think you needed up to 60,000?
Up to 60,000, yeah, because what you see there, like for example, on this still shot here, you still see some what we call some C and D material there. Some other illegal dumping there, as I call it. That was in the property there. So I would say I'm very comfortable. I don't think I'm even get all the way up there, up to $60,000 to remove the remaining vegetative and I call it other materials that are there.
I'll make the motion for that.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilman Lord to authorize up to $60,000 for debris removal on the site. Looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Ramirez. Favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That's ordinance, is that a resolution?
A real resolution. It'll be a resolution ratifying, and that way we have it there. And so thank you, Mayor and members of council with that.